You're watching Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney, Southwest Florida's retirement television. He's an author, a radio host, a fiduciary, and Southwest Florida's premier investment advisor. Here is Senior Investment Advisor Eric Kearney.
Welcome to Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. My name is 𝗱cia 𝗱𝘁, joined today by Eric Kearney and Joseph Lanza of Retirement Wealth Advisors. And to our viewers at home, we are talking all about Social Security today. We're going to talk about income with Social Security and also worries, because we know there's a lot on your mind, our viewers at home, wondering about Social Security overall, and will it be there for you when you need it? That's the big question of the day. Eric, how are you doing today?
Great, 𝗱cia. So happy to be here.
Me too. I'm happy to be with you. I was so looking forward to today. And Joseph, how are you?
I'm excited to do another show with you, 𝗱cia.
Me too. I'm always so excited to have you both in the studio, because I know the viewers in Southwest Florida, they're leaning in. They can't wait to see what you're going to say from one week to the next. And today's show is very timely and very important. A lot of people have questions about Social Security.
Right.
So right out of the gate, Eric, may I start with you?
Sure.
The big $1 trillion question is, will Social Security be there for me? Viewers want to know, will it be there for me?
Yeah, so Social Security has become a huge topic. And actually, it's interesting because we talked about last week how this was going to be a big show this week about Social Security income and a little bit more diving into that. So the $1 trillion question is, will it be there? Kind of. So it's going to be there in a different form. And I'm not trying to sound like a politician, but Social Security is a little bit of a mess right now. So the biggest thing is, there is going to be over $1 trillion that's still going to be paid out this year. $1 trillion, which is substantial,
That's
right?
huge.
Huge. Here's the issue. Since 2021, Social Security has been on a downward trend. There's not enough workers that are funding it, and they're actually expecting by 2034 for the trust fund that it's created right now to be depleted. So the difference is the workers today that are all contributing to it, even if that fund goes away in 2034, there will still be 79% of promised benefits paid. The problem is that really is now it's part of the national budget. So when President Roosevelt actually started this in 1935, he promised that all the funding would go right into an independent fund and it would stay there for Social Security.
Okay.
Until 1969 comes along and they're like, hey, we got this pile of money. We can use it for the national budget. So now all of a sudden, all this money comes over. We're robbing Peter to pay Paul. And now all of a sudden you're on a downward trend. So it is a huge deal right now. And really what we're trying to pay attention to is American workers, because it's the working Americans that are actually propping up Social Security. And unfortunately, we have a lot more jobs going overseas and in Mexico.
Yikes. Very true. Good point, Eric. And that's going to tie into our next question. How does the federal budget play a role in Social Security?
Yeah. So now all of a sudden it's a unified budget. Healthcare and Social Security is now part of that budget. So every year we're watching the national debt go through the roof again and again. And look, I'm not in the politicking business. I am in the money business. So I really couldn't care who is in the White House. I don't really care about each side. I care about you, your portfolio, and really monitoring the policies that are brought out by that administration. That's really what we have to pay attention to. But when it really comes down to the national budget, when you take a look at the budget, 40% of that is going towards healthcare and Social Security. The next percent is actually our military. So we're kicking about $864 billion a year towards our military, about $68 billion a month.
Wow.
Now, Canada has it easy because they're kind of following our coattails. They're only spending $26.9 billion a year on their military. So look at the massive amount that we're spending on our military compared to these other countries. It's amazing. 6% of that budget is going towards paying off the deficit or just our interest. So we're not even paying any principal down. We are only paying interest on that national debt. 7% is going towards welfare. Here's the kicker part. We've got about 19% going somewhere else. And so in 2022,
the big question.
It's a huge question, right? Like, where is all this money going? It's 19% of the budget. And this is where the American people will get a little upset. $1.2 trillion is paid out, and really, we don't really know where it goes. In 2022, we paid out monies to over 173 different countries.
Wow.
So 2023, 2024 isn't going to be any different. When you take a look at Ukraine, over $60 billion has been sent to them. When you take a look at Israel, over $18 billion has been paid to them. Now, if you take a look at last year, we had Hurricane Milton, wreaked havoc all through Florida, went into Western North Carolina, went into Tennessee. Yeah. That storm is going to cost $50 billion.
Yeah.
Now, we're sending all this money out to other people. No wonder the American people are upset about that.
Sure.
How are we actually paying for Western North Carolina to go back together? How do we pay for all these hurricanes in Florida? Well, we're having bake sales. People are depleting their savings, their money markets, their retirement accounts. Luke Combs, Eric Church did a massive concert up in North Carolina and raised almost $25 million. Where are the insurance companies? They're just saying, no, we're denying you. Where's the government stepping in? No, we're paying out other countries instead of us. Yeah. This is where we need to say enough is enough.
Yes.
We've got to pay down the budget.
Yes.
But we also have to start worrying about our own personal finances. So you really need to start worrying about your own personal economy, not what's happening out in the world, but through financial planning, through income planning, through that portfolio, you can actually start to take care of you and yourself. And that's really what we're trying to engage new clients into getting into.
Eric, thank you so much. Joseph, this next question, this is a lot of people thinking right now in the viewing audience. With so many of us depending on Social Security for retirement, people will often ask, is Social Security tax-free income? Viewers want to know, is it tax-free income?
So it's all depend on what your sources of income are and what you're actually totaling up to be. And something that's getting talked about possibly being changed. But as of right now, for some that can be completely tax-free, and for others up to 85% of that will be taxable. So for example, for a married couple filing jointly, if they have $44,000 of income a year or more, then 85% of that benefit will be taxable. And what this does is it actually poses a possible strategy where if you have multiple investment accounts in retirement with different taxations on each of those, depending on how much you pull out of those accounts and what your income actually totals up to be at the end of the year, you could actually either reduce the taxes on your Social Security or receive it completely tax-free. So be aware of this as you go through retirement. If you have multiple accounts that you're pulling income from, you want to be managing not only the taxation, but the total amount of income that you have each year, because that will affect how much you can truly net from that benefit.
Joseph, thank you so much. Very, very good question. Excellent answer. Most people are thinking about that. Eric, this next one before we take our first commercial break.
Sure. When
should someone start to claim their own Social Security benefit? This is the mystery question. Should people be turning it on right away?
Right.
Do they delay? How do you help determine that?
Right. And so it kind of goes back to that very first question, right? Like, I mean, is it going to be there for me? And so there's a lot of people that say, look, I've been paying into this, or my husband's been paying into this. And there's a lot of people that still do have a lot of Social Security questions. And again, this is one of the things that's actually focused on in the income plan. So again, we talk about myIncomePlan.com quite often, but again, you can go on to myIncomePlan.com, download our retirement income guide, and then you can actually make a appointment with us to do an income plan. And I was reverted back to a financial plan, but really a lot of people want to understand where their paycheck is coming from. You used to be on payroll, now you're creating your own paycheck. So you want to go in there, you want to understand your different options. And Social Security still does have a lot of different options. There still are a lot of moving parts. And it's like what we talked about before, you don't ever want to have an income gap in there.
Absolutely.
So you want to make sure that you're understanding the time frame of when you're taking out Social Security, as well as all of your other assets. So there are a lot of still different strategies that we can implement, and I think it's important that people try to do that.
Absolutely. And Eric, you and Joseph have a very special message to our viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is today before we take our commercial break.
Sure. So everybody out there, again, thank you so much for watching. I am going to mention something today I've never mentioned before. It is a financial mind map. And again, this is one of our secret weapons that we actually have at Retirement Wealth Advisors. But again, if you've collected assets out there and you've amassed some assets, they're all over the place, and you want to do a financial mind map, you want to understand the direction of them, give us a call today. Specifically tell the girls, Eric mentioned a financial mind map on TV. That's exactly what I want to do. So again, We don't talk about it a lot because we don't want to put it out there. It's a very powerful tool that we use with our clients. You've probably never have seen it anywhere else, but you heard it here first. Give us a call today.
Eric, thank you so much. That's the Financial Mind Map.
That's right.
M-I-N-E or M-I-N-D?
M-I-N-D.
Okay.
Yep.
That's sure.
Yeah, I have horrible language, so. Yeah.
No, that's okay. I can't hear, so it's perfect. Eric, thank you. Joseph, thank you. To our viewers at home, that number to call is 1-800-779-1942. We know you have a lot of questions about how to plan your perfect retirement. Remember, we're talking about the Financial Mind Map today. Don't miss the opportunity to have one of yours done. That number, 1-800-779-1942. You can grab your smartphone, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to the landing page of Retirement Wealth Advisors, and you can claim a consultation with Eric and Joseph by doing that. We're going to take a very short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about Social Security, some income, and also some other things about Social Security that you are not going to want to miss. We'll be right back momentarily.
And we are back today with Donna Crone, Certified Financial Planner of Retirement Wealth Advisors. And today, Donna, we're going to answer the big question, how do I know I can retire?
Yes, and through the financial planning process, Eric, we can and we do answer that question for our clients. But it's also the opportunity for us to introduce the concept of retirement readiness. Retirement is a transition, not just impacting your money, having enough assets to retire or to live out your lifestyle, but it also has an impact on a physical, emotional, and mental plane. And that's the piece that a lot of people maybe blow off or don't quite understand.
Right.
But the approach that we use in our firm is holistic. So we really encompass all of those areas, not just relying on the good, sound financial planning principles. We rely on behavioral finance to help guide our clients through these less quantifiable issues that may be coming up as they approach and move into retirement.
Sometimes people don't realize how deep and involved a financial plan gets. We have to realize that we're leaving the workforce, going into retirement, and there are a lot of unknowns. So we end up having a lot of questions. So I love the retirement readiness. So what we're doing is we're getting you prepared and ready for that retirement. But it also blows me away, again, how many people don't have that financial plan, but don't have that process. So Donna, thank you so much. We always appreciate your expertise. We're very grateful to have Donna Crone, Certified Financial Planner, who heads up our financial planning department, who also does tax planning, income planning. We're heading up the portfolio management team, and then of course our concierge service. So again, if you're looking for those services, please give us a call today. Otherwise, Cynthia, back to you.
Welcome back to Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. My name is Cynthia 𝗱𝗲𝘁, joined today by Eric Kearney and Joseph Lanza of Retirement Wealth Advisors. We're talking all about Social Security today. This is a big show for the viewers at home. Joseph, this question is for you. Many people want something to do in retirement. How is Social Security affected if they decide to work, even if it's part-time? Viewers want to know.
So you can actually see a reduction in your benefit if you claim that Social Security benefit before your full retirement age and you are still working. So for most individuals, that full retirement age is between 66 and 67. And so for every $2 that you make over $22,320, you could see a $1 reduction in your benefit. So for someone who's 62 years old and they're still working, but they're eager to get on Social Security, that can significantly hurt them in the long run.
Sure.
And so once you reach that full retirement age, if you are still working, you will no longer receive a reduction or penalty. So you might want to think about this if you are still working or even think about going back to work. You might want to wait until that full retirement age so you don't have to deal with any of those penalties or reductions.
Very important to know, because a lot of people want to know if they can work part-time, will they be penalized for that?
Right, or at least stay under the income level. So you might want to know what those are for each year if you are going to do something part-time. Maybe if you're just passionate about something and you want to do something, you might want to know what those are so you're not seeing any reductions in your benefit.
Okay, Joseph, thank you so much. Eric, this next one I want to guide to you. We're going to turn to income strategies now. Okay, wait a minute. Eric, now let's turn to income strategies. How are we going to replace that paycheck? Where do we begin?
Yeah, it's so overwhelming we can't even talk about it.
I can't even get that one out. It's like, how do we replace this paycheck? Where do we go?
I mean, I think that's the biggest question, right? So people are like, oh, like I've been working, I've been on payroll, now I got to get this paycheck, I got to create it myself.
Yes.
But you know what? It's really no different than, like, if you take a look at the 1980s, what happened back then? A lot of people had pension. I grew up in upstate New York, so we grew around IBM. Everybody had a pension. Then you got Social Security on top of that. You were on Easy Street. But then all of a sudden came along, well, we're going to take away the pension and we're going to give you this thing called the 401k. Now it's your problem, right?
Yes, exactly.
That's why it goes on the back burner, because we're like, no, you know, I got to raise my family. I got to go to my job. I got to run a business. Now I got to take care of this thing too. I mean, it really does go on our shoulders to be more fiscally responsible.
Absolutely.
And so now all of a sudden we go into retirement and we're like, now we got to create our own paycheck. I've got all these accounts all over the place. So let's just break it down. So the one thing that we do is we put you through a process. So when everybody comes into the office, they're getting the same process. And basically what we're doing is we're really taking a look at their budget, how much their lifestyle looks like. Do they want to travel? What do they want to do with their kids? Where are they going to live? All these good things. And what we're really breaking down is the how and the why. How do you want to live? How do you want your retirement to look like? How do you want it to feel like? And then all of a sudden we're asking, why? Why are we going to invest in this? Why is this going to benefit me? And this is the thing about our finances. I don't think enough people are asking enough questions. And so if they are working with an advisor who's kind of dropped the ball, they're not really asking them the how and the whys. And so this is where I'm encouraging people today. Like, if you've been watching the show, think about your how and your whys. How am I going to be able to do this? How am I going to be able to outpace inflation? How do I know that I'm not going to run out of money? And then, why am I doing this? Why am I writing this plan? Why? And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to answer more questions than we have questions. Because I feel like there's so many people that have a lot more questions than answers.
Yes.
And so if you go through a process, and I will say this, in 24 years, we've never had to change or alter anyone's income in retirement. Never.
Wow.
And there's a lot to be said for that.
Absolutely.
So when people say, I'm afraid of outliving my money, I'm afraid of inflation, these should not be issues for you. And I had a client 2 years ago when inflation started becoming rampant. He said, I'd walk into the grocery store and I would buy anything that I wanted because I know that I've been way ahead of inflation for the past 10 years with you guys. We're showing that in the income plan. We're showing them that in the financial plan. He's like, I don't like that I have 2 bags and it's $100. He goes, but at least I know I can afford it. So again, it's all that planning that you're actually doing. It really does pay off.
It does pay off. And also, I have to also talk about the fact that when you're working with your clients, people have said this over and over, that you both explain things and they're easy to understand. Like, so many times you've heard people go, they're speaking to financial advisors and they're talking over the person's head.
Right.
So they don't have their questions answered. They leave feeling confused. They don't know where to go, which is why I think people love this show so much, because you're so easy to understand and you explain things so well.
Thank you. I mean, the thing is that this can be overwhelming. So what we're
Yes.
trying to do is really make it fun for everyone. And I've said this for a long time. I have a very good friend of mine who's a big advisor up in North Florida, and we talk all the time. And the one thing he said was, when this job becomes difficult or not fun anymore, I'm out of it. And I feel the same way with our clients. We really want this to be an inviting event for them.
Yes.
And we want them to come in and just have a conversation. So when you see a lot of people are overwhelmed about the entire financial planning process, you really shouldn't be. It should just be a conversation, a nice conversation. And a lot of times people will get up and they'll leave the conference room and they're like, I wish I did this a long time ago. So this is the one thing that we want to know is it should be fun, inviting, and not overwhelming at all.
I think you should invite more people in right now.
Right now. Okay, let's do it. So everybody, go to myincomeplan.com. If you have questions about your income and where that's coming from, go on there and download our retirement income guide. It's going to answer an awful lot of questions. Number 2, call the girls today at 1-800-779-1942. And again, I'm going to sneak in that financial mind map a little bit. So you're going to download the retirement income guide, but then on top of that, we're going to give you a bonus and you're going to ask for a financial mind map. That is MINDMAP. So again, give us a call today. We look forward to hearing from you.
Eric, thank you so much. Joseph, thank you so much. That number to call, 1-800-779-1942. Remember, this is the financial mind map that you're calling in for. 1-800-779-1942. And go ahead and book that complimentary consultation with Eric and Joseph. We're talking about how to properly plan your retirement years, and you want to be ahead of the game when it comes to that. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We have so much more with Joseph and Eric when we return.
What does your retirement look like? Is it filled with travel, spending time with family, uninterrupted rounds at the golf course? Or are you too worried to even think about your hopes and dreams? Eric and his team can answer your questions with a complimentary review of your retirement and income plan, and it all starts with getting to know you. They'll do exactly that by going over your current strategy to expose the weaknesses that may exist in your retirement portfolio. Plus, they'll explain potential risks and possible strategies to you in easy-to-understand terms and help get you reacquainted with your portfolio and income strategy. Once they understand your retirement goals, objectives, and dreams, they'll work to custom build a retirement plan to help ensure that you cannot outlive your income in retirement. Because every dream needs a plan. Call Eric today and schedule your visit. You only retire once, so let's get it right the first time.
Welcome back to Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. My name is 𝗵𝗲ia 𝗱𝘁, joined today by Eric Kearney and Joseph Lanza of Retirement Wealth Advisors. We're talking all about Social Security and planning for your perfect retirement. Joseph, obviously investors have worries and concerns about their retirement. So how does financial planning help to get them pointed in a better direction?
Yeah, well, we know the market is going to go up and go down and be volatile, and that's obvious. It's no secret. But a lot of times when the market is down, we forget really quickly that it can also go up. And that's our emotions coming into play and making us want to make those irrational decisions. But when we have a financial plan that's directly linked to our investment accounts, that's looking at those in real time compared to what our lifestyle spending is, what we want out of retirement, that gives us that ability to see long term, start thinking big picture again. Because a lot of times that short-term volatility in the market, it so easily clouds our long-term view. And what we found with our clients is during those times of volatility in the market, instead of them just logging into their investment accounts and looking at whatever their account balances are, they're actually more so logging into their financial plans and they're looking at their real-time probability of success. Essentially what they're saying is any of this volatility impacting what my long-term goals of retirement are? Or can I still keep doing what I want to do?
Yeah.
And so when you have that ability to see that real-time probability of success, it not only eases a lot of worries, but it prevents a lot of those irrational decisions from being made as well.
Yes, and so often when emotions can take over, great point, Joseph. Absolutely keeping calm and staying the course.
That's right.
I love that. Thank you. Eric, this next one I'm going to guide to you. Retirement Wealth Advisors focuses on income planning for all of your clients. Help explain the benefits of that.
Yeah, so everybody wants to understand how they're going to pay their bills, how they're going to outlay their life. So really through the income plan, what we're really trying to do is we're actually taking an inventory of all of your assets. We're actually putting them into a column and we're showing you how you're going to pull income from there. And there's a lot of people that said, look, I owned a business for so long. I sold the business. Now I've got to create income. How do I do that? I owned real estate for so long. Now I'm selling off all my real estate. How do I pull income? So we're literally writing out this income plan that actually factors in inflation, healthcare, rising costs of living, and we're actually showing them. And a lot of people, and I think Joseph will attest to this too, when you sit down with somebody and you show them their very own income plan, they're actually saying, I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
And these people are in their 50s, their 60s, and their 70s. They've never seen an income plan before. That is mind-blowing. So again, if people want their own financial plan and income plan, they can actually go to myincomeplan.com, download that guide, and then again, give us a call, and we will do your own income plan. And on top of that, we're actually going to throw in your very own mind map. So again, if you want a financial mind map, give us a call today as well.
Eric, thank you so much. One more question. Do investors focus more on short-term or long-term when it comes to investing strategies, in your opinion?
Yeah, so there's short-term all the time. I mean, that's just, I mean.
They like to think it's long-term.
Yeah, they really do. So like, yeah, I mean, we could say short-term and then move on, but there's such a thing as effectiveness and efficiency. Efficiency is where we really take a look at our statements on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, very short term, and we're like, okay, my account is up, I'll be successful in retirement. Or in that time, the market is down and, oh, I am doomed for failure, right? But what we're really looking for is effectiveness, and effectiveness is actually looking at long term. So we're taking a look at the long term of the financial plan, the income plan, or the tax plan. So a lot of times you want to figure in how effective is my actual strategy going forward, and that's really what we're focusing on. So there's a lot of times, again, people have a lot more questions than answers about their finances, and that's really what we're trying to answer.
Absolutely. And then one final question, how do interest rates and inflation play a role with retirement income? Because everyone's talking about inflation, obviously, like you mentioned, Joseph, that was like the most popular word of the year. How do they go hand in hand?
So if you take a look at this year, you already see where inflation is again an issue. So again, you've got to be factoring in inflation and also tax rates. And if people are concerned about taxes, we actually have something pretty cool to offer everybody. So if you go to 𝗿𝗲𝘰𝗁_taxtest.com, you can actually go through the process. You can type in your own figures and you can actually download your own tax guide. So taxes and inflation are always going to be an issue. It's part of the financial plan that our certified financial planner will go through with you. We're not only looking at how much you're paying in taxes, but also managing your tax brackets. So again, you can go to 𝗿𝗲𝘰𝗁_taxtest.com and download all the information, and then take a look at that and see how we can actually help you in the long run. And I still think it's amazing to see when we're factoring in that inflation and all those taxes, how much it reduces everything, because it actually allows you to keep more.
And are you finding that people are often surprised after they go to RWA, the tax test, what they're coming up with as far as their solutions go, the answers?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's situation that when they go in there, they're like, Eric, this is why we're calling you. We had no idea of this. So there's a lot of people that are aware that taxes are going to be around. Take a look at the national debt. That is only going up, up, and up. And so again, the government does not manufacture anything. They don't own anything. They simply tax you. So again, more of those taxes are going to have to go towards paying down that debt as it increases. It's going to come from taxes. So when people say, I don't think taxes are going to go up, I would actually respectfully disagree, and I would rather be prepared than unprepared.
I agree.
And if all of a sudden we become into a taxable event, people are going to hyper-focus, and they're going to make a lot of mistakes.
Absolutely. Eric, thank you so very much. Joseph, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, most specifically, thank you for spending time with us today on Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. That number, 1-800-779-1942, or go to rwataxtest.com and test your taxes today. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back 1 week from today on Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney and Joseph Lanza. Take care now.
Hey, Southwest Florida, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions after today's show, please give us a call.
Remember, you only retire once. Let's get it right the first time. Have a great week and an even better retirement.